Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, Pedestal Wives. So I'm just going to wait a moment to make sure that everything is working, our audio, our video. If you come in, let me know if you can see and hear me or if there's any issues on your end. So just give me a moment. So we're going to let everybody get into the room. Okay. Welcome, 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 ladies. All right. So I want to talk about feminine frequency. The reason for that, a lot of women want to be able to walk into a room and the energy literally shifts because they're in the room. Like the thing is, and I think a lot of us equate that energy shift to when celebrities show up. You know, when a celebrity shows up and they get out the car and there's cameras and there's people and everybody's clapping and everybody's interested and everybody wants to see them. Most women want to have that effect, but they do not understand that the celebrities are operating from a masculine frequency. And what is going to make the energy truly shift and for you to be felt is a feminine frequency. So let's talk about what a feminine frequency is. The feminine frequency is the vibration that you carry. A unique signal is created by your emotions, your thoughts, your nervous system, your beliefs, and your body to soul connection. Hey, Miss Feels Good. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, ladies. You all, I'm so happy to be here with you all and have this conversation because I think we left off having this conversation about magnetism and feminine frequency. One of the things I like to equate feminine frequency is music. Every woman is like a song. There's one of the things that I love to do when I go out about. When I'm out and about, I'm shopping, I'm going out to eat, I'm spending time with my family. I love to people watch. The reason why I love to people watch because every woman is a song. I love to watch your expressions, to watch your movements, to tune into the frequencies that they're putting out. And sometimes when I'm people watching, I look at women and I tune into their frequency. And maybe one woman comes in and she has more like a rap frequency and it's more dominant, it's more guarded, it's more status conscious. Or maybe I come across another woman and she has the um, heartbreak music of the 90s. I'm not sure how old everyone is, but I can tell you at one point during the 90s, heartbreak music was a thing. And it was my thing because I was going through something too, also during those times. And so I would listen to those songs, and the women who had that heartbreak 90s frequency, they were more, it's more of a longing, wounded, and craving frequency. And then there's the other woman, and she has more like a jazz frequency. She's more magnetic, present, and and craving. She's like more magnetic, present, and grounded. And then there's the woman who has like the classical frequency. She's more refined, more wined, more studious. So every woman has a frequency. The thing is, most of us do not know what we're putting out. Most of us have not tuned into our frequency in order to determine what frequency we're putting out. Because the frequency that you're currently putting out, that is what people are tuning into. That is what people, opportunities, men, friends, people are tuning into that frequency and they're drawn to you because of it. And so, for example, the women who had that like rap frequency, they came off as very guarded. And so the thing that happens when you're very guarded and you're very dominant, you get people who want to test that dominance. You get people who want to penetrate that being guardedness. You get people either who want to test it or who want to take advantage of it. And so we need to get back to the real conversations of the feminine frequency of what we're putting out and people are tuning into and how we can change that so that we can bring in the things that we desire. Hey Janice, I don't think I've ever seen your name here. So welcome, welcome. It's just the first live stream you've been on. Okay. But people, this is what the issue is. When you go about putting feminine energy out there in a place of what feminine energy truly is and not focus in on it being a energy, on the essence, on the animation of the energy of you, instead of you focus in and say it's just your makeup, it's just your clothing, it's just your shoes. And you don't even understand the frequency that you're putting out. So what we have currently is women who are well put together, well put together. They smell good, they look self-confident, but their frequency is domination, or their frequency is being guarded, or their frequency is being wounded. And then they're very upset when they don't get the results or get what they believe that feminine energy will give them. So if this is you, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you if you came across videos that only push you towards looking better. I'm talking to you if only thing you received about the feminine energy was to do in order to be. And this is the other part of the conversation that needs to be had. This is the other part of the conversation that will help women go to the next level. Yes, my first live, glad to be here. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. And see, the thing is, when the frequency is distorted or misaligned, this is where you get people who tune into you that you don't desire. So, for instance, if you've done all of this work, you put all this energy into your level up, you've changed your makeup, you changed the way you look, you've lost weight, you've done everything you can aesthetically do in order to be, you've been taught to be feminine, and none of the things are making any changes in your life. And that, first of all, I want to pause here and say, if you're doing all this work, all this changing, and you're not getting any type of results, then the change that you're implementing is not the change that you need. And that's just being very honest about it. That's the reason why we get so many complaints when it comes to having these conversations about feminine energy and what it truly means, and what it's going to bring or give to that woman, is because of the fact that there was an era, and I've already talked about, if you've been in my YouTube community posts, I've talked about the fact that I added to it. And that's the reason why I've stepped back into the conversation of femininity and feminine energy, because instead of being a person just criticizes a platform or a movement, I need to add to it. I need to give back to it so that maybe we can make a course correction and we can pivot and help women get what they truly desire. So feminine frequency is a unique signal that you are putting out, and people are tuning in to that frequency. Now, if you don't like what you're putting out, let's talk about how we can change that. Let's talk about how we can go within and make the required changes so that your feminine frequency will begin to shift the energy. I've talked about how mentor, my mentor had this down to a science. And that's the reason why only thing she really taught me was all of the inner work that I needed to do. She talked to me about my thoughts, my emotions. She taught me that feminine energy is truly through the body. It's not just putting things on the body. It's not just putting makeup on your face. It's not just getting your hair done. It's not just wearing heels. This is the reason why a person can be feminine and have a job. And yes, we had got to the point where we're having these conversations and people were questioning their day-to-day lives if they're feminine, not realizing that being in the feminine is being in the body. And everything comes through the body. Even your emotions, even your body informs the emotions. And so let's talk about, how do we change that? First of all, I encourage all of you to tap into the frequency within. Pay attention to the things that you attract. Pay attention to the thoughts that come up. Pay attention to the emotions that you have not processed. This will let you tune into your frequency. This will let you know, are you walking around like you in a rap video? Are you walking around like you are at the, listening to classical music? Are you walking around like you are listening to hard rock? Are you walking around like it's just it's the sad R&Bs of the 90s? What is your frequency giving to you? And what is being attracted to you due to the frequency that you're putting out? So, first of all, regulate your nervous system. since the body informs emotions, I want you to think about it like this. If I am like stiff, or if I'm not just stiff, let's say I'm anxious. Let's say I'm anxious. When I'm anxious, the body tightens up. And when the body tightens up, the thoughts that come from that feeling will be more along the lines of, what's going to happen next? What do I need to do? What am I not doing? Who am I? Like, you get all these type of things that come up because of the body. And so if your nervous system is not regulated, if it's deregulated, you're going to have more along the lines of that type of thoughts and questioning coming up within you. So your body is an amplifier. So if you haven't done any of that internal work that's required to get your nervous system reset or get your nervous system online so that you can attune your feminine frequency to attract or get the things that you desire, that is one of the first things that I would point you in that direction. Especially if your frequency is coming across more along the lines of more maybe dominant. And like I said, if your frequency is attuned to that, what will happen, it will bring in people who want to test that or who want to take advantage of that. So regulate your nervous system. You cannot you cannot radiate what you do not feel safe. And number 2, process instead of perform. See, the feminine feels. And see, this is another reason why I stepped back from the feminine genre, from the feminine social media, and stopped doing content about femininity and feminine energy, especially when I realized that a lot of content creators had gone before and set the status quo of what feminine energy is. And when I started hearing conversations pop up where it was more along the lines of being more unbothered, or being along the lines of being cold, or being along the lines of just pushing your emotions down, when emotions have to be processed, because unprocessed emotions left in the body causes distortion. And this also affects your frequency. So just imagine you having an instrument, and instead of you using the right tools for your instrument to clean it, to make sure it's tuned, you're trying to probably use maybe a broom or something. And that's what's happening when you don't have when you haven't done the processing of those emotions. So I'm big on get those emotions out your body, because anger, all these big, powerful emotions, it really doesn't matter what it is. These emotions are sitting in the body and they're unprocessed, and you haven't gone through what's required to unravel them and deal with them. They cause a distortion in your frequency. Instead of you believing it, you believe that you're coming off very self-confident. You believe you're coming off as though that you own the room. What really your frequency is coming off is this distorted, like maybe confusion, because you have these things going on within you. The body will always tell us the story that you keep hidden. So process instead of perform. That's the reason why when it comes back to my content, I know I've been one of those big advocates of not shutting your body down. That there's nothing, you're cutting off your direct connection to that side of yourself that is feminine. When you start shutting down the emotions, when you start walking around cold and unbothered, then the distortions happen in your frequency, and people tend to tune into that. And now you might attract more confusion, and people tune into that. And you're like, why is this happening? On the outside, I look self-confident. On the outside, I look good. On the outside, I have the best outfits on, the best makeup on. My hair looks good. Everything looks good. I'm a 10 out of 10. But then your frequency is putting out this distorted message to everybody that you come in contact with. And number 3, reconnect to the body. I know there's been so many different conversations when it comes to feminine energy, that a lot of women really do believe that in order to be in protection, and that's the key word, protection. So you start putting protection in the body, that's the body stiffening up. That's the energy within the body, holding yourself in a space where you don't get to process any of those emotions that are coming through. And so reconnect to the body, because the feminine lives in the body. Her emotions, the body informs the emotions. All of the information that's put out here is saying, hey, the body is just an ornament. The body is just meant to have something on it to make you look good so that you can attract the things that you want. But that is only one half of the coin. And that's the reason why so many women stepped into this space and did all of the work. You went in and you got pretty. You did everything they said to do, and you never got any of the results that you desired. And that's because the work that was needed to be done was the emotions and the thoughts and the beliefs and creating that bridge between your soul and body in order to have a feminine frequency, a vibration that other people can attune to, other people that can tap into. And those people are tapping into it. The current people that you have tapping into it, they are absolutely the results of your feminine frequency, of the frequency that you're putting out. So the feminine lives in the body, not in the brain and not in the looks. So reconnect to the body. The reason how I think it's so important too, that the reconnection needs to happen and we need to push more reconnecting to the body within the feminine energy space, is because I see a lot more fear in women. And see what happens when fear is in the body. What does fear feel like? It tightens up the chest. It puts you on guard. It puts you in protection. So even when people tune into that space, they don't even get to really tap into who you truly are. They don't even get to tap into your essence, into the feminine energy that lies within you because of the fear. And I truly do believe, as we continue to do these videos and I put this content out here, I know it's going to improve the feminine energy space because of the fact that there's so much miscommunication, so much deceit, and just outright lies when it comes to the feminine energy and femininity and what it truly is. The feminine is that space within you that's creative, that space within you that is receptive, that space within you where the body and the emotions held, that space within you that is connection. It has nothing to do with the characteristics. It has nothing to do with being submissive. It has nothing to do if you have a man or not. It has nothing to do if you have a job or not. It has nothing to do if you have money or not. It has nothing to do with any of that. And so somewhere along the line, we have gotten off track, and it's time to pull it back, because that's the reason why a lot of people, when I go on social media and I see people having femininity and feminine energy conversations, and the women are younger than I am, they're pushing this narrative that feminine energy doesn't exist. If you remember back to the old days when I used to teach feminine energy, I talked about how it has a scientific and psychological background. There is, work that they have done to prove that these energies exist. And I pushed that. And what I should have been doing, and like I said, I can criticize myself openly, is that I should have pushed further into having the conversations about what it truly is, even if there was naysayers that were telling women that it wasn't that. And those people who pushed out this content and made women believe that that if they didn't have a man, they couldn't be feminine. Like men prove femininity and men don't prove femininity. Men do not crown you a feminine. They do not make you feminine. That was always an outright lie. You having a job and having your own money and having a voice for yourself, none of these things make you feminine or make you not feminine. None of these things affect femininity or feminine energy. The things that really affect feminine energy and femininity is your true essence. It's the way that you think. It's your emotions. It's your body. It is you overall. The feminine body is so true. Yes, thank you, Janice. I appreciate you. The feminine is the body. Everything is informed from the body, even when it comes to emotions. The emotions, the body informs emotions. And so everything comes from the body, and that's where the feminine energy lies. So anything outside of the body, like the things that we have focused on that we need to do to make ourselves more feminine, those things were not making us more feminine. That's the reason why the feminine energy space started to fail at helping women step into their true feminine essence, because it was all about what you had to do in order to be. And that is not where the feminine energy lies. That is not what feminine energy truly is. So, number three, we need to begin the reconnection to the body. We have to let go of this idea that if we freeze or pretend that we don't have any type of emotions, or that we're unbothered, or that we're cold, all those things were created so they're out of protection. And anything created out of protection that freezes the body freezes those emotions within us, so we don't process them. So we don't go through the joy of just feeling the anger that came from an emotion, or the happiness that came from the emotion, or the sadness that came from the emotion. Like, we're supposed to feel those things. That is one of the reasons why men like the feminine, because she has the emotions, and she's tapped in, tuned into emotions in a way that he has not been able to do. And so just imagine a whole bunch of women walking around frozen in their bodies, frozen in their emotions, frozen in their feelings, and not processing any of those things out of protection. Because the conversations had started leaning towards, hey, if you say anything about how you're feeling, then he's going to use that against you. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if he uses something against me about how I'm feeling, then he's not the one for me. That's the reason why we have boundaries. Boundaries is a protection. Feminine energy is our joy, it's our place, it's our essence. You don't use feminine energy for protection. Use your boundaries for that. Use your standards for that. Okay? You use respect for that. There's certain things you use for protection, and feminine energy was never that. It was never meant to be taught in that manner either. So, three, moving on from three, we're going to go to four. Clear the mental noise. All right? Your thoughts shape your signal. If your inner voice is judgmental, fearful, or bitter, this distorts your feminine frequency. If the only thing you can hear in your head is constantly how you're not good enough, how you're not pretty enough, your frequency is going to be distorted by that. You may be a little bit more guarded because of the fact you don't feel like you're good enough. You may be a little bit standoffish because of the fact you don't feel good enough about yourself. So all of the things that's going on up in here tampers with your signal, tampers with your frequency. And so that's why it's so important to kind of clear that mental noise out, clear out those that judgmental, critical inner voice that you have, silence it, so that you can show up in a way that's more calm, more grounded, more open, more loving, more carefree. So number four, clear the mental noise. These things are going to help you to kind of clear out and change the frequency to the desired frequency that you would want. If you're the person who's walking around and your frequency is more along the lines of rap, where you're more like dominant, status conscious, guarded, you're gonna attract, and the people who are gonna tune into that frequency is not gonna be the desired people that you would want. The people who are gonna tune into, maybe you're more of a classical, a classical frequency. Maybe you're more refined, more wide, more studious. Then the people are gonna tune in to that, who desire or would like to be near that person who is putting out that frequency. So everything that within you is being broadcasted has created that frequency. I like to equate it to music, because I feel like women are music. Women are music in motion. When you start learning how to read energy and then read and tap into women's frequency, you will realize that everyone is giving off a different frequency. Like, I've met some of the most beautiful women in the world, because I used to do a lot of mentoring. I used to do a lot of mentoring behind the scenes. And I would have these beautiful women pop up, and they would have everything. They would have the money, the education, they would be stable, they would be kind, they would have the look. And it was the energy that would come off of them. Even though they had all these things checked off and all these things going for them, the frequency that I would get from them is sometimes they would be really guarded, or really in fear, or really scared. And I think a lot of us don't realize that stuff comes across. Your energy is felt. And that's the thing. We are so stuck or well, not just stuck. I think we're caught up in what things appear to be, what things look like, that sometimes we're not tuning into the frequency. We're not tuning into the energy that someone is giving. I like, you know what I like to call it? When I would have like certain mentees, friends, family, it's an energetic signature. Like no matter what, they will have an energetic signature that will come across. Like even if they go through ups and downs and changes in life, they still had an energetic signature. And a lot of us do not realize that we are coming across in that way. Some of us don't realize we're coming across that way. Some of us go on dates. We have everything done. We have the look. We have the stability. We have everything that a man would want. But we have the inner critic that's in our head that's telling us we got to protect ourselves. This man is scary. I'm in fear. And all that does, it distorts the energy. It distorts the frequency. Yes, you may appear to be self-confident. You may appear to have it all together. You may appear to, be on the right track. But your frequency, and men can tap into that. They have gotten very good at tapping in and tuning into these frequencies. And even if the woman is not verbally broadcasting all this information, they're picking it up because they've learned how to kind of cue into body language. They learn how to cue into her energy. They learn how to kind of learn a woman before she even opens her mouth. And see, so women are baffled, like, what is happening? And I would get this all the time when I was being mentoring women. They'll be like, what is happening? Why is it, this happening here? And her energetic signature will come across. Even if she did all of the things. That's the reason why when it comes to the frequency, there's a whole nother set of things that I give a woman who's going on a date. It's not just questions. It's not just things to ask him. I make sure that they check in and tune into their own frequency to make sure they're putting out the frequency that they want to broadcast, because you don't want to broadcast the fear or the confusion or the anger or the guardedness. You don't want to broadcast that on first dates. Men pick up these things. They're very sensitive to it because this is their bread and butter. How do you think that men know who can be a victim, who won't be? I know some people don't have these conversations, but they're tapping in, they're tuning into the frequency, and they're being able to pick up that, she isn't, that she's guarded or she's confused. They're able to tap into this energy in order to pick out victims. And so it will be it's very important that women start having these real conversations about the feminine frequency and what it attracts and what it brings to us. And instead of us just being like, oh, I'm just gonna go out here and I'm gonna get whatever I get, let's start tuning in to our frequency, tuning it to figure out that, make sure that we're broadcasting the frequency that we desire. And you can change your frequency. It's not set in stone. Because I used to be her too. I used to be that person before I had my mentor who taught me some of this stuff. I used to be that person who was very guarded. I used to be a person like I'm the oldest of 5. So I had a lot of responsibility. And so I had to learn how to protect myself because my mother at that time, she wasn't in a position mentally to protect us. So big sister had to step in that position. And so doing so, that created a space where I had to be guarded, where I had to have my head on the swivel, where I had to be looking for things that may harm me. And that showed up in my frequency. And that showed up in the type of men that would tune in and be attracted to me. And so when I went and, start having these conversations with my mentor, she's the one guiding me into frequency and feminine energy. And it helped me to realize, oh, that is what I've been doing. That is what's happening. That's the reason why I keep like at one point I went through a phase where I was attracting nothing but stalkers. Because when you're guarded, what happens? When you're guarded, you get people who tune into that, either that they can take advantage of it, or they tune into that to see if they can take advantage of, or if they can manipulate you, or that they can penetrate or get beyond that energy. Is this also reflected based on the type of music you've drawn to? You know what? Thank you, Janice, for that question, because that's a question I was thinking about. For me personally, I feel like every woman is a song, and I equate the frequency to music. But I have seen music be a good tell of the frequency that a woman has. If a woman is really into like the hard rap music, I've noticed that she comes in very guarded, very dominant, and very status conscious. So if a woman is into the sad R&B music, then she comes in yearning, she comes in longing, she comes in searching, she comes in wanting love. So I've been doing my own personal research, and this has nothing to do with anything, any statistics or research that I've read before, but in my own personal uh mentorship, I've noticed that yes, the music that women are drawn to does have something to the frequency that she puts out and broadcasts. So absolutely. Because I was thinking about that earlier, and I was like, am I going to say it? And you brought the question up, so I guess it was meant to be said. All right, just checking to make sure we have any questions. If you have a question, go ahead and drop it down below. Make sure you take time to like the video. And also, if there is, you all know, I don't know if y'all have this on your end. If there's some hearts, go ahead and give the live stream hearts if you are really enjoying it, if you feel called to. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know I had that. I thought you had to be bigger to get the little heart. But hey, so if there's some hearts and you're really feeling this live stream, go ahead and hit the heart button. But the feminine frequency is a unique vibration that you're putting out based off your thoughts, emotions, your body and soul connection, and beliefs and nervous system. When you ignore this, people tune in or they're attracted to that frequency. And so this is one of the things I always tell every woman that come in, and if we're concerned about her frequency and what she's putting out, tune in and scan your thoughts. Scan your thoughts. Scan how people and what people are attracted to you. Look over the past relationship that you currently had or having and see what they're attracted to. You can have a basic step back, take a bird's eye view at your past relationships and the people that you interact or engage with, and see what they're tuning into, and see how the relationships in or romantic or either panned out. Pay attention and tune into the emotions that you're having. And this will help you identify the frequency that you're currently on. And of course, look at the music that you're listening to, because I don't listen to rap. I listen to classical and jazz music. Because even when it comes to like hard rock, that's kind of like a more stoic energy, and it's still a little bit more guarded. It's still a little bit more survival. And so I kind of pay attention to the music that I listen to. I like R&B too, but I like R&B where there's love. Like I don't like sad R&B. Like there was during a phase in the 90s, there was a heartbreak music that was very popular, and I found myself kind of tuning into that. I found myself in a more craving frequency, more like along the lines where I felt like I was craving something, or that I was looking for something, or that I was searching for something. Because what we do, sometimes we don't realize the things that we play, we put that in our bodies, we put that in our subconscious, and that comes up. And so since I was listening to those things back to back to back, I was finding myself more like craving, like having a boyfriend, like searching for a boyfriend, wanting a man. And so that's the reason why I'm very careful nowadays about the type of music that I indulge in, because I'm very careful of the frequency that I have. I feel like my frequency is very expensive. My frequency, no matter where I am, and like I said, this is something my daughter talks about. She talks about no matter where I am, someone always wants to help me. Someone always wants to help me, wants to be around me, wants to be close to me, where I literally have to figure out how to separate myself from a person or a friend that I picked up on my outings. Like if I'm out here grocery shopping, I pick up people as I go, and I'm not intending to. It's not something that I'm mentally thinking, oh, I got to pick up a whole bunch of people or I got to talk to a whole bunch of people. No, that is not the thing. It's my frequency that they're drawn into and they want to attune to. And so let me tell you one of the things that I've been able to notice when your feminine frequency is in the desired way that you want it to be, people will turn around, not because they see you, not because they hear you, it's because they feel you. So when I've noticed it, when I walk in, I've had people turn their bodies, and then eventually their eyes come. Eventually they move towards me. And this is how you know that your feminine frequency is at the desired level and in the way that you want, that you're broadcasting the right thing that you want, that you're broadcasting, and the people who are tuning and attracted to that are coming towards you. I don't chase anything. And when I was back there listening to certain types of music, I always felt like I had to do too. That they don't talk about how the fact that that music kind of encourages a certain type of energy within you. When I listened to rap when I was younger, it made me feel like that I wasn't doing enough. That I have to do something. I have to chase something. I have to be. I have to do to become successful. I had to do to have money. I had to do so much. And it's a lot of responsibility because it's the energy of that. It's responsibility that also appears in that frequency that we don't have the conversation about. And so when it was like the heartbreak 90s, it was more along the lines of chasing something, of craving something, of yearning something, of wanting something. The thing is, when you crave something, this means you're further away from it. This means you're further removed from the thing that you desire and the thing that you want. And why would you want to be around or have that type of frequency that's always emitting that you don't get what you want? Being on the other side of that, in a feminine frequency of being able to get what you want, of being the lucky girl, of being the person who always get anything that desires or anything that they want. That's a whole different type of energy. And your energetic signature precedes you. Before you say a word, your energetic signature is coming across. Before you even say anything. And that's why the real conversations about feminine energy and frequency and magnetism is so much more important. All right, so let's see what everybody's saying. This is deep because I reflect on listening to old Mary J. Blige songs and realize how much of a pick me she was in the 90s. No disrespect, but I had to catch myself on what I was listening to. Same. I had to do the same. You don't realize it that it's still music. I don't think people realize that the music penetrates the body, and since the body informs emotions. And so those things come up in your frequency. So you are here listening to Mary J. Blige, and she's never getting anything she wants. She's always very sad. That's the frequency you're putting out. So who's going to tune in and be attracted to sadness? People who are already feeling that, and they want somebody that's going to confirm or affirm that energy, or someone that they feel like they can take advantage that's in that energy. How do you identify our own frequency? I think I gave you a little bit into that. How do you identify into your own frequency? You're going to have to kind of step back and kind of, have a bird's eye view of your past relationships, your current relationships, and what people are attuned or attracted to, and the type of thoughts and emotions that you're currently having. A lot of us don't realize that your thoughts can create distortions. So if I feel bad about myself, let's say I got on the internet, right? And I'm like, y'all, and I see this all the time on social media, because social media is a place where entertainment is put higher than education. All right. So I see this all the time. Y'all, I'm ugly. See, I'm ugly. Who's going to tune into that? Who's going to be attracted to that conversation and want to tap into that? The person who's feeling that they're ugly also, so they have someone to affirm that, or the person who feels that you may be their next victim or somebody you can manipulate. And so identify your frequency by the thoughts and emotions that you currently have, or the emotions that you currently have in process. If you were taken in a couple years ago when they started this uprising of feminine energy, and it talked more about being unbothered, being cold. And what did you do? You thought, okay, the only way I can go out here and date is if I be cold and unbothered. That's the only way I can date. I can date if my emotions are not involved. That means you probably left a lot of emotions within the body, and that created some type of distortion in your feminine frequency. So check for that. Check to see if there's some things that you have not processed. Check to see if there's some emotions that you have not allowed yourself to feel. Like there's literally people that encourage women that were going through a heartbreak just to get over it. And I'm a person who understands that if your heart is broken, your heart is broken. That is a deep emotion that you should not hide from. You should feel every bit of it. You should feel the breaking of your heart, the sadness, the tears. You should let all of it out. And let's not even jump into the conversation where emotions unprocessed in the body cause disease. Okay, that's another conversation, but that's another outcome. So identify and do a what I call a body scan. Go to your thoughts, look at the emotions, look at the people who are attracting and attuned to you currently. Look and see if there's a body to soul connection that you have, where your emotions that you understand and you identify and celebrate the body's ability to inform. Like you have that connection within your body. Love jazz and instrumentals also. There's another type of I can't remember what it's called, you all. I'm sorry. I having a little brain fart. But there's another type of music that I like too. I can't remember what it's called, but it doesn't have any words. It just makes, I can't remember what it's called. Is it Hertz music? I can't remember what it's called. It's all over YouTube. If I can think of what it's called, I will make sure that I let you all know before we leave this live stream. But I listen to that also. And it makes you feel so connected to the body and makes you feel so connected and self-aware of what's going on within your body. Like really, when I listen to that music, it's so much easier to kind of, get in tune with my breath, my heartbeat, the blood in my body. And just, it makes you feel so good. I can't remember, there's a certain name for the music that I'm talking about. I have to either, if I can't remember on the live stream, I'll try to make sure I mention it on one of my posts. How do we know our dial? How do you know your dial? What do you mean? How do you know your frequency? Well, one of the things that I've learned, my frequency is bringing in the type of people that I want to tune in and attracted to that frequency. I don't have people showing up trying to test that frequency or manipulate it or, do something because of that frequency. Usually they're coming in and they're adding to my life. And that's another way to kind of tap in and tune in. Is the people that is attracted to my frequency, are they coming in wanting to add in and add on and multiply the things that I have currently have going on? Or are they coming in trying to subtract or take away or test? And how can we control this? Can you pick and choose what energy you emit? Being on a date, it should be more seductive, and when you're around children, we're nurturing. Yes, you can. You can absolutely choose. You can choose your frequency. You can decide to tune into a specific frequency. And that's the reason why I said I call it energetic signature that every woman has, that she's able to emit. But you can change your frequency according to dealing with children, or dealing with a romantic partner, or dealing with your friends, or dealing with your family, or dealing with people who you're in business with or you work for. You can change your frequency, but you have to tune in and become aware of what you're putting out first. You have to feel it through. Yes, absolutely. But when it is enough, just because you feel heartbreak doesn't mean you get over it. Well, you can feel heartbreak doesn't mean you get over it. Getting over it, I think the thing is, now this is where logic comes into play. Life be lifing. Even if you feel it, it will make you more in tune with your body when you absolutely process those emotions. It doesn't mean that you get over it and you don't feel anything anymore. I don't think anybody that's been through any powerful emotions, like I know when I went through my grandmother's loss when she died, I haven't gotten over it. I still have that feeling of sadness. Anytime I used to couldn't say her name. Sometimes I still can't say her name when I really think or tune into the type of woman she is and the type of woman that nurtured me and took care of me. It's not about getting over. It's still trying to process and keep moving forward. That's what it means. It means you're still moving forward. And you're not stuck and stagnant and being in that same space. So just because you know, I'm processing that those emotions, I'll allow it to come. I don't sit here and try to harden myself to her or make myself feel bad because I'm crying about her 3 years later. I allow myself to feel. And me allowing myself to feel, allowing the body to reset allows me to tune in, have the frequency of my desire, have the frequency that I want other people to tune in and be attracted to. But if I walked around with that on my shoulders and that sadness pulling me down and putting out the frequency of sadness every time I go somewhere, then I'm just going to have people who want to test it, manipulate it, or they're, wanting to do something because of that sadness. I'm not going to bring in the desired people who want to the desired people to tune in or be attracted to my frequency. So I'm not saying you get over it. I would never say get over it. I'm saying get through it and continue to move forward. Yeah, it's called Hertz frequency. Binaural beat. I'm not sure. I can't remember what the name of it is, but I know it has a specific name. And I listen to it, and it really gives that body connection that I love. I love being able to really connect into my heart, and I've noticed that when I come out of that music, my frequency is a lot more attractive. Like when I come out of that music, I'm a lot more grounded. I'm a lot more centered. And so I don't, like I said, I'm not sure if that, it might be Hertz frequency, it might be binaural beats. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to mention it maybe in a post or something, because, or maybe I'll show an example of what I'm listening to in order to so maybe the other women of the community can also utilize it. We can really choose our frequency. Last week, I entered into a very cheeky energy. I said to myself, I feel very flirtatious today. Every single time a man approach out of the blue, absolutely, we can choose it. We can choose the frequency that we're putting out. Some of us don't realize sometimes your thoughts, that inner critic that you have, is your downfall of your frequency. It's creating a distortion because of the fact that you feel like you're not good enough. That frequency is being broadcast as though you're not good enough. And so, since you feel like you're not good enough and you're broadcasting it out, people who are tuning into that, they're either there to test it or they're there to manipulate you or do something because of that energy. So yes, you can change your frequency. This is not about walking around with the same frequency. When I say energetic signature, I realize that a lot of women have an energetic signature. They have an energetic signature they kind of default to, and majority of their situations. They default to that signature when they are at work, when they're in meetings, when they're in with their men, when they're with their families. They fall back into that signature. They fall back into that comfort frequency for themselves. And that's the reason why I call it a energetic signature. And every woman has one. Every woman has one. Can you decide that you don't like yours and change it? Absolutely. It's absolutely easy to change your frequency. Can you talk about the transition from being nurturing to seductive feminine? Well, the thing is, you can this that would be are you talking about the frequency? Because that's what the conversation we're having is about, frequency. So if you're nurturing, that means you're caring and you're loving and you're open. You're open. And you can decide to be that with the people that, like your family members, you can decide to be that. The thing is, we have to be careful when we sit here, and only time we try to have that type of frequency is with men. This is when we start getting into the territory of being inauthentic. We start being inauthentic. So we got to be very careful. Wouldn't we want to have like more of a nurturing energy anyway? That should be a part of us. That should be a part of our essence. That's a part of the feminine, to have a nurturing, and nurturing is equals connection, and that is in the realm of the feminine. So we have to be very careful when we start trying to get in this mindset, because it, like, the thing is, these things that we create these type of plans and goals to have that type of frequency, and it can become, thank you, Janice, inauthentic and performative. And that leads to a distortion. So now we think we're switching over into being something that just because a man is in the room, he can still pick up of it on it being inauthentic. Other people can pick on it being inauthentic. So we have to be very careful with the type of conversations of, being this way because of that, or being this way because of this. Just because you can still have nurturing energy when you're around a man, it's just different because he's not your kid. He's not your kid. Just being open is nurturing. Just being carefree and fun is in the realm of being nurturing. So we have to be very careful with that type of conversation. And that's the type of conversation that I feel like got us off track when we started learning about feminine energy in the first place. We started trying to create ways to be with him, and then to be with them, or be with family members, or be with friends. Like, isn't that what you want that to be a part of your energetic signature? That you're very caring and opening and fun to be around in the first place? Yes, in men, it's just a byproduct. Decentering men is a distortion. I agree. Gotta be very careful, because I think it's a slippery slope. I think this is where we all went wrong when we were teaching feminine energy before. When we started kind of putting together these things just for men, not realizing that a lot of the things that is of your feminine essence, men are going to enjoy. It's just going to look different in the masculine and feminine dynamic. Is it not all the same frequency, but down to interpretation, i.e., being happy? Well, if it's the same frequency, then that means you don't need to create anything different. They don't need to be in transition. You just need to be. I don't believe in decentering men. Okay. Hey, I think that, I'm not sure how she means it when it comes to decentering men. I think for me, and I think that also when it comes to decenter men conversation, I think we're talking about something different. As far as when I say decenter men, I am just talking about making sure that you don't lose yourself when you deal with men. That is the level of decentering men that I have. Okay, that is the definition that I have for it. Now, I may be wrong, or how other people are speaking on it. I can't speak for other people. I can only speak for me. And for me, when it comes to these centering men conversations, and this is what I'm receiving on, and this is what I believe, that you don't lose yourself. Because I've been married a long time, and the worst thing I ever did for myself is I lost myself in the very beginning. And you should decenter men by not losing yourself when you're in romantic relationships with them. I do not believe in, not having a relationship with men at all, because I know that really does not align with the heterosexual woman. And it's not realistic. And I don't believe in kind of putting stuff out there. It's not realistic, honestly. I really don't. So that's what I would say when I say decentering men. It's not I hate men You can't date men, you can't be around men. It's more along the lines, don't lose yourself with them. That's what boundaries are for, y'all. Boundaries are there so that you don't lose yourself when you deal with them. Boundaries, standards, respect, these are there for your protection. You just have to implement them. Instead, I know that the conversation has been pushed so far where now it's like we can't be around men, or like there's more like a misandry with men. And that's okay too. I'm not even against women who don't want to be around men. I think that's a choice. You can make a decision, decide not to be around men, but don't say the only way to decenter them is not to be around them. Okay. Yeah, don't become a Stepford wife. Y'all, if you've been here a long time, I've talked about my Stepford wife era. I've talked about it. The first 5 years, I would say I was a Stepford wife, and we were miserable for 5 years because I was trying to find my way. Like, I was trying to find my way. That's all it was. And so I just kind of stepped into that. And so now I talk against it because I've already done it and I had to come out of it. And we're so much more happier because I decided just to be myself and be the person that he was dating in the first place. He didn't date a separate wife. He didn't marry one. I just became one because I thought that that was the best way to be married. That's what people were telling me. And I was listening to my elders. I would listen to people who were married. And I wanted to stay married for a long time. I didn't realize that being a separate wife led to you being bored, led to you not being connected, led to you all not spending time with each other. I didn't know it led to all these things. So there's a lot of consequences that come with being a separate wife. Decentering men is about not making them the center of your universe, and it attracts narcissists and toxic relationships. I can agree. I think every woman has lost herself before when dealing with a man. Yes, absolutely. And I did it within a marriage. So just imagine. How do I manifest my girlfriend back if the act of manifesting anyone goes against my self concept? Like, they should be manifesting me, not we were bestie for 11 years, so I want her back. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, it's against your self concept, but it's also against mine because I believe in free will. I don't believe in trying to manifest a specific person. I believe in you can try to manifest a person like that you know can be with, but not manifesting a specific person because I believe in free will. And that's off topic than feminine frequency. And that's an educational film. Yes, right. Absolutely. It sure is. Like when I tell you, like we were so close to not being together, and next week is our 25th anniversary. We wouldn't have made it here. We wouldn't have made it here because this is what they don't tell you when you try to be a Stepford wife is that men don't like that. Masculine men don't like that. They like the fact that you are who you are, that you're unique. They like the fact that you carry yourself with a certain type of energy and a certain standards. They like that. They like the fact that they're not the center of your world. They like that you have something going on for yourself. They like that you have a brain. They love that. They don't tell you that. And they don't tell you that's the reason why a lot of men are bored because women have decided to be a Stepford wife because they're listening to the internet, and the internet encourages that. I want to say thanks, Brill, because you said something that changed my life. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I always look at the women who won't, you won't, and ask yourself, what are they doing? Absolutely. Absolutely. Happy anniversary. Thank you so much. Our anniversary's coming up in like a week, and I'm excited. He has so many things planned. Of course, it's a surprise, but he's like, he's going to take me shopping. Even though I can go get my own stuff, he wants to take me shopping because it's a specific outing, and he wants to make sure that I am dressed accordingly to where we're going. So I'm excited. We're gonna have so much fun. But your frequency speaks before you do. A lot of us don't realize that we're saying something without saying anything. Your body language, your energy, your expression is being relayed over, and it's broadcasting. It's putting something out in a way, and people are either deciding to tune in or tune out. And when I realized that I was not going to be successful if I continued on my way of emitting a frequency that was hard, that was guarded, that was dominant, that was survival. And even though I looked good, I had everything done. I had my hair done, my nails done. I had my makeup on. I was wearing dresses. I was wearing heels. I was doing all the things that they said to do. And I was still having stalkers tune in, aggressive men tune in, abusive men tune in. Because what happens when you emit that frequency, these people want to test it. They want to see, they want to test it, they want to manipulate, they want to use it. And so I had to, when I got to my second mentor, she helped me realize what I was doing. She pointed it out. She helped me to learn how to scan and check into my thoughts and my emotions. And like that's when I started, like before there was conversation about mother wounds, I was already dealing with mine because I knew I had to deal with mine. I knew that I could not operate or show up on dates with a chip on my shoulder. That was being broadcast, even though I was coming on dates with a smile and pretty makeup and pretty clothes on. The chip that I had on my shoulder about my mother and the wounds that she caused was still being broadcasted. Instead of people who are healthy tuning in, I had more wounded people who either wanted to test it, manipulate it, or take advantage of it that tuned in. So that's the reason why I went through a phase where I had 2 stalkers. Like I've been stalked twice. And that's during that phase. I didn't realize my frequency was being put out into that way. And this is not to put, because I know this video might be somewhat triggering to people who had that happen. I'm saying this is from my own personal experience. And this is what I had to adjust. This is what I had to change. This is what I had to check in. Because I realized that I was showing up in a way that looked good, but I didn't feel good. And me not feeling good was broadcasted before my looks even were seen. I'm just joining. How does a woman give off feminine frequency when she's constantly in survival mode? Okay. I would definitely suggest that you go all the way back to the beginning. It's gonna be a whole lot more helpful. You go back all the way to the beginning. When we're live, you all can still go backwards. But in a nutshell, when a person is in survival mode, when you're in survival mode, the only thing you're trying to do is protect yourself. The only thing you're trying to do is guard your heart and guard yourself to make sure you don't get hurt. When you are in that space, that is being broadcasted. So you think it's not because you've covered it up with makeup. But I can tell you, people are very sensitive. Body language is absolutely, body language is read at a 98% rate. So people can read you, read the energy coming off of you. The signals and the things that's being broadcasted off of you is being felt, and people are tuning into that. Like, think about it. When you're at work or whatever you're doing, let's say you're at work, right? And people come in, they're coming in, and you're looking at their face, right? You're looking at their body language, right? You're looking at their expression. And from the expression, the body language, and the things that they're giving off, you can tell if they're sad. You can tell if they're angry. You can tell if they're happy. You can tell if they're in joy. And so you may make decisions based off of what's coming through that door. And that's what's currently happening. And we don't even realize it. So if you're in constant survival mode, it makes you more guarded. It makes you more in protection. So you're going to be putting that off. So when a man is sitting across from you, instead of you being open and want to have conversation and maybe like have a little bit of a back and forth with him, you can't even get in that energy because you're too scared about what you might say. And that's where we start having these conversations on social media about feminine energy, where women started getting to, oh, well, you can't say that because you said that he gonna use it against you. Or you can't do that, he gonna use it against you. And see, that created the space of women trying to protect themselves. So now you're going on dates in protection mode. So he can't get to know you because every time he try to, have a little banter. And I talked about how banter is very sexy. And usually the women who can banter well are the ones who like very grounded, very connected in the body, very self-assured, very confident, but they have that body and soul connection. So banter comes easy. And banter is very attractive, by the way. So you can't even banter with him because you're too much in your head about if you're going to say the right thing or if you're going to say the wrong thing. Or if he says this, what does it mean? So you're too focused on that. These things can be felt. That he can feel you being guarded. He can feel you pulling away from him. He can feel you trying to protect yourself from him. Do you have any tips on how to handle sadness and embarrassment? I feel like it ruins my frequency. I try to change it the moment I have negative thoughts, but the sadness just uh ignore for like 20 minutes. Feel it. Like I'm not sure, and I think this is where this is the indication of where society is going, where we feel like we cannot have feelings or deep emotions. Like I am going to feel that emotion. I am going to feel that sadness. I'm going to feel that embarrassment and just let it flow through me. It doesn't mean that it's a stop sign either. It just means I allow myself to feel it. And then I allow myself to be led to move forward and make a difference, to move forward and keep moving forward. You don't let these things stop you. You just feel them. If I'm embarrassed, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed. Y'all know how many times I probably embarrassed myself on social media with a slip of the tongue or saying the wrong thing or, saying something wrong. Like it's embarrassing. But instead of allowing myself to get down about being embarrassed, I just allow myself to feel embarrassed because it's a normal emotion. I think everybody goes through embarrassment. Everybody has sadness. I just allow myself to feel it and then continue to move forward. I don't let the emotions be a stop sign and have me stop, doing or moving forward or having or experiencing life. Yes, it's like a sixth sense. People pick up on. It's not what they see. It's sense on some subconscious level. Yes, that's the reason why body language is like what 98% rate. Like people can tell how you feel based off your body language. It's a whole language that's being broadcasted in the first place. So if you start paying attention to these things, you can adjust your feminine frequency. Thank you, bro. I go back to the beginning. Yeah, you're gonna like the beginning. Okay. Nothing wrong with that if you have to go back to the beginning. Because you'll get a longer explanation for it. One huge thing she said was doing a body scan. Getting present in your body, being in the body is a connection that shifts you out of survival, bringing the mind to the body. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the reason why I begin every single day with meditation, prayer, and body scan. Oh, and of course, still drink coffee, but that's the only cup I have because I don't like a lot of caffeine. But do that every single day because it helps me to really connect. I want to make sure there's nothing hiding because I don't want anything to distort my frequency. I don't want anything. The sadness that I could feel if I walked around always sad, people are gonna tune into that. People are gonna be attracted to that. Think about the type of people who are attracted to sadness or sad women. Think about the men who are attracted to the women who are guarded. I know that there's some type of fantasy where we believe that if we're guarded and we're in protection, that he's going to want to draw us out of that protection or guardedness. Honestly, what that does is that turns away the type of men that will be there so you don't have to put the protection on. Only men that want to be attracted to the girl who's guarded and in protection mode are the ones who's trying to figure out how they can penetrate it, test it, or manipulate it, or use it to their advantage. What's interesting is that I love folding my arms, but it doesn't mean I'm angry. LOL. Yeah, I mean, if you are in a situation where you're folding your arms, or you're like doing this, or you're putting certain movements out there that may indicate that you're angry, or that you're hurt, or that something's going on, that is how it's going to be read, because your body language is read at a 98% rate more. That language is spoken more than the actual verbal communication. Women do this all the time in the first place, because when they are dating someone, or on dates with a person, they're checking their body language out. They're checking to see if that person is engaged. They're checking to see if that person is leaning towards him. They're checking to see if their eyes is on them. You're reading all this in order to discern if this person is into me. So being aware of these things helps you to be able to get the people that you want to tune in or be attracted to you. So we've already been here already an hour and 11 minutes, and we got 111. I'm kind of loving that. I'm digging that right now. So if we have any other questions, go ahead and drop the questions in the chat. Make sure that I went through and seen all the comments. Oh, and before we leave, I want to let you all know that I am going to be hosting a masterclass, Encoded to Receive. I did drop the link down in the chat. If you're interested in that masterclass, it's going to be on August the 30th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's interactive. I'm going to help you kind of tune into your frequency, because we're not only going to tune into your frequency, I'm going to help you develop magnetism. We're going to go through and kind of break down the things that are creating your frequency, and help you choose your frequency, help you fine tune your frequency. And then I can get a better look at your energetic signature. Because if you've ever mentored with me prior, I'm good at telling you what your energetic signature is giving. And I'm very honest about it. So if you're interested in that, it's all mostly body work, somatic movement. It's all about feminine energy and femininity. Okay. So if you're interested in the masterclass, it's scheduled for like 2 to 3 hours, because I love to make sure that I have a good Q&A at the end of every masterclass. For those of us working in the office, how can we get a professional frequency that is appropriate for work culture? Okay. Isn't it automatic for you when you go in? Most times when you go in, it's automatic for you to kind of, be present and be available to work and be dependable. That is the only thing you would need for your frequency anyway. But isn't that kind of natural for you when you go into the office to be that? Usually, most of us have that separation. Like when we are going to work, we have this type of frequency and openness about us, versus when we are dealing in romantic situations, or friends, or going to events and being engaged in those type of things. Too many energies at work. Okay. Well, what I would do, if you are trying to keep a appropriate professional energy, then you're going to focus more on yours. This is where you're going to be focused on your job, your duties, and your energy. And you're going to kind of block everybody else out. You're not going to be focused on what other people are doing, what other people are saying, how other people are, doing their work. You're going to focus on yourself. If I were you, I would just take the time. If I was in that environment, and I know when I used to work, and this used to piss a lot of my coworkers off, because I've always known how to kind of like, focus on myself and focus on the duties that I have. I focus on my duties and the things that I have to do and the things that I have to accomplish. I don't allow their energies to penetrate or focusing on what they have to do or their duties or their gossip. I kind of separate myself from that anyway. Because I when I was working, I didn't I didn't really want to be involved in all of that. I didn't want to be involved in all that. So I just, basically separating my energy from any of that and didn't get involved in any of it. And you know what still happened? Even when I separate myself from everybody's thing, I wasn't jumping into the gospel. I wasn't trying to go to lunch with them. I wasn't trying to, connect with them in that manner. I still had people who were so drawn by my frequency that they came and did my room. Because at one point I was a school teacher. And at the beginning of every year, you have to decorate your room. And I still had people who would show up at my door to decorate my room or help. I never decorated my own room. And that's because like people are, when it comes down to, when you have like a grounded, self-focused, calm energy frequency, people are still attracted to it because they're intrigued by it. They're not used to, usually people try to get in the mix. People try to, connect with everybody or befriend everybody or be around everybody or be involved in the gossip. I was never that person. And so they had to come to me. And since they had to come to me, they will offer to do things. And since I was a new teacher at the time, I let them help. I've never been one of those ones who like, oh, I got to do it on my own. Like I've been left their energy behind. To me, that's different wife energy. I got to do it all on my own. I don't do that. If there's help offered and it's authentic and it's, their energy is coming towards me and they really want to help me, I'm gonna let them help me. And so that's what I did. I didn't allow any of that in. I created, if you want to call it my own energetic bubble, that's what I did. I created my own energetic bubble where I tended to my business and did my duties. I handled my responsibilities as a teacher, and people saw that I was dependable. They saw that I could, I wasn't a gossiper. People saw that I wasn't trying to befriend everybody. I wasn't trying to be in the mix. And guess what? They were drawn to me. And I still ended up knowing everything about everybody, because everybody would come in and give me all of their business. I never asked for it. I never said, hey, how you do? I never offered any of my own. Everybody knew the basic about me. They knew that I was married and how many kids I had and what I did for a living. And that was all. I think a lot of times people use that, hey, let me give you stuff about me so they can get stuff about the other person. And that doesn't work on me because, like I said, I kind of tend to keep my energy to myself, and I keep to myself, and I don't engage or involve myself in other people's business or other people's things. So people come to me. And that's what happened when I was working. And so every year that I had to do my room, someone would come in and offer to do it. All right, so it is 1:18. I am going to go ahead and get ready to close us out. Thank you, ladies, for being here all the way to the end. Take time to like the video. I appreciate you, ladies, for your support. And I will see you all on the next one. You all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.